The town always tasted of rain that never quite fell, a lingering metallic tang under everything. Streetlights hummed at wrong harmonics, low and patient, and the evening air carried a whisper that made watches stutter and dogs stand rigid, eyes fixed but mouths silent. At the cafe where I collected strangers and turned gentle scares into conversation, the sugar jars trembled as if listening. Cups cooled on saucers while a conversation warmed. A moth beat at a fluorescent bulb in a pattern too careful to be mere insect impulse. I began small, prodding edges the way one might prod a dark attic with a broom. I told stories. Lost hikers who came back whole but couldn't read their own names. A neighbor who kept his radio tuned to a station that threaded two fractured lullabies through static. People leaned in, then slid back. Their laughter started warm and thin to brittle clinks. They offered ordinary facts with a smear of wrongness. A teacher whose pupils reflected some sky no one had seen. A fisherman insisting that the ocean remembered his name. The signs were domestic and polite. Moss on the inside of window panes, shadows that blinked a beat before their owners, but they accumulated like small coins until a pattern emerged. My nights shifted. Dreams stopped giving images and began arriving as weather. Pressure behind my molars, a taste of iron that made sleep feel like slipping into an undertow. I woke with certainties I couldn't own, precise constellations that weren't in the sky, a corridor in the municipal records building leading to a room without corners. People I'd once coaxed into itching started calling at odd hours, voices thin, asking if I'd noticed the new pattern under a lamplight. I kept a ledger of betrayals, grandfather clocks running backward, phone numbers that answered with our own static, the way the moon puddled at the curb. Naming them felt like filing them away. Then, one evening, the sky bruised slow and deliberate. Not a shape descended, but a grammar unfolded, an arrangement of angles and silences that unstitched perception. Streets hummed into ordered frequencies. Pigeons walked in geometries that made my stomach hiccup. In the park, a thing unfolded like a sentence. An impossibly thin shadow speaking in the cadence of old lullabies, offering answers in voices that remembered how to pronounce the human sieve. People stopped with mouths open, not from fear so much as recognition. They had seen this syntax in dreams and in the soft jokes I told. Confrontation was translation rather than combat. The town learned a new punctuation, and the air corrected around it. My part, convener of small horrors, felt absurdly modest. I had rung a bell and the bell had rung back. On the last night I walked alone and the horizon folded into a pattern I almost read, and I understood only that something had negotiated terms with the ordinary, leaving margins of our world to change hands. They left the lamps on in the morning, but they burned in a cadence I did not own. The town had been counted and chosen, and I had taught it the rhythm. We had welcomed them politely, and they had answered politely. The table had been set, and someone had taken a seat. The wait, I learned, was the answer.